Okay, so what are the prerequisites? The first thing is it needs a competitive environment, it needs a favorable regulatory system, and yes, there must be an institutional infrastructure, there must be a complete body and infrastructure, so there must be a lot of space for a dedicated department for agriculture marketing, and yes, there must be a strong physical. So if you can see, in both these points we are focusing on infrastructure. So infrastructure is very important, and there must be competition. So there must be an environment, there must be competition. Okay, now these conditions cannot come up on their own, particularly in a developing country like India. So therefore, agriculture market policies are treated as an integral. It's like inside, it's a within inside the government development policies, and their functioning has to be an important part of the public policy in India. So that is the reason that the government has intervened, or it has interfered in the agriculture markets. Okay, so now let us see a little bit of interference and how they have interfered. Okay, so government interventions in agriculture markets. Now, policy interventions in agriculture markets in India have a long history. So let's see the history. So till the mid 1960s, it was mainly meant to facilitate the smooth functioning of markets, and also to keep a check on hoarding activities that were considered unfriendly to producers and also consumers. Now subsequently, what had the country adopted for a package of direct and indirect interventions in agriculture markets, and this gradually expanded to cover several other crops, products and aspects of domestic trade in agriculture. So the present policy framework for intervention is broadly grouped into three categories. So let us read it first. So let me just clear this. Okay, so as I said, it is broadly the present policy framework for intervention in agriculture markets and prices can be broadly grouped under three categories. So what are the three categories? So three categories. The first one we can see is regulatory measures. Okay, so regulatory measures, let me say it includes development and regulation of wholesale markets in Indian and adoption of legal instruments for regulation of agriculture, marketing and trade. So that is the first category, in which it includes the development and regulation of wholesale markets in India, and in Indian, and adoption of legal instruments for regulation. So there must be a proper regulation and proper channel of activities where there is a board which is taking care of the agriculture marketing and trade in India. Let's see the next one. So the next one is important. So that is called also as APMC. Okay. So the second one is yes. So the second one is APMC. Okay. So APMC is, what's the full form? Agriculture Produce Marketing Committee Regulation. Okay. So it is called as APMC Act. Okay. So what happens here? Let me write. All wholesale markets for agricultural produce in states that have adopted the agricultural produce market regulation act. So that is APMRA, are termed as regulated markets. Okay, but there is an exception. So with an exception of Kerala, Jammu and Kashmir, Manipur, all other so only these states have not enacted the APMC Act, but rest of that, apart from Kerala, J&K, that is Jammu and Kashmir and Manipur, all the other states have enacted the APMC Act. Now let us see how the working of APMC is. Okay. So yes, let me write down here. The working of the APMC. So as I said, this act is implemented and enforced by the APMCs established under. So the first point of working, it mandates that the sale or purchase of agricultural commodities notified under it are to be carried out in specified market areas, yards or sub yards. Now these markets are required to have the proper infrastructure for sale of farmers produce. So there must be a proper infrastructure. Okay, let's see the second working. Okay, the second one is yes, the second one is prices in them are to be determined by open auction. So there must be an auction, and that is open auction, so where there are bidders and people can sell it, and each and person can bid, or they can quote their prices, so that is called as auction. Okay, so there is a transparency because of this. Conducted in a transparent manner in the presence of an official of the, so some official has to be there, and in front of him there must, this auction should be conducted. So in the presence of an official of the market committee. Yes. Now third working, market changes for various agencies such as commissions, for commission agents. So there are some people called as commission agents in the agriculture market department, and they are called as Arthiyas. Arthiyas, Arthiyas. Okay. Then there are some statutory charges which are mandatory, such as market fees. So let me write down here, such as market fees, taxes, then produce handling charges. So produce handling charges, and this produce handling charges is such as like cleaning of produce, then loading and unloading, and so no other deduction can be made. Apart from this, there cannot be any other deduction which can be made from the sale proceeds of the farmer. Okay, so that is a very important point. Let's continue the third point. Okay, so market charges, cost and taxes vary across states and commodities. Okay, so now let us see how it is done. So this is the farmers. So first the farmers will bring the produce. They will go to this APMC mandis, or they are called as markets. Then the auctioning will start. So auctioning of produce to establish price. Then there will be a commissioner or commission agent who are called as Arthiyas. Okay, they charge commission. So they will charge a commission for helping the trade. And then finally the produce sold in the mandi. So the produce is sold to the mandi, in the mandi, to the whole sellers. Okay, so this is the way the entire process. So first it goes to farmers, then it reaches to APMC Hamdi, then the auctioning starts, and the commission agent is the person who will start to do the auction. He will help in the trade, and because of that he will charge some commission, and then finally the produce will be sold in the mandi to the wholesalers. Okay, so now what are the advantages of APMC Act? Let me just clear this. Okay. So advantages of APMC Act. Okay, so first is removal of several malpractices and imperfections from agricultural markets. Second is ensured a fair deal. So a fair deal is done also here. So fair deal to the farmers to sell their produce. The third one is created, so there is a transparency, so created transparent marketing conditions. Okay, so besides improving the ways of market function, the acts creates an environment where the producers are free from exploitation by traders and mercantile capital. So APMC Act in recent years have developed certain inefficiencies, and the opponents have strongly argued to completely change the APMC as per the needs of the current situation. So the main argument for the changes are, so let us see the main arguments here. Okay,